Contrary to popular belief, not everybody wants a large, lumbering, diesel-fed pickup-based SUV. There are still some drivers that prefer the nimble handling of a compact crossover with the advantages of a diesel engine. Now in this segment, there are only a few players with the Honda CR-V and the Mazda CX-5 coming into mind. However, when you expand your vision away from these two, well, you see that there are a few other diesel-fed compact crossovers in the market, with this Kia Sportage GT line as one of them. So should you give the Kia Sportage a second look, or should you just stick with the usual suspects? Well, it's time to find out. Let's do this! Hello guys, I'm Reagan and welcome back to another car review. If you're new to my channel, I hope you click that subscribe button and become part of the Reagan's Rides family. If you're my subscriber already, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Oh yeah, and click that like button. Also, special thanks to Kia Philippines for lending us the Kia Sportage. Anyway, the Kia Sportage GT line. If you have any inquiries for any Kia vehicle, you may visit them at any of their authorized dealers nationwide. The 4th generation Kia Sportage has been quite a popular compact crossover in other countries, and with the resurgence of Kia Philippines under AC Motors, it has also received a boost locally, especially with the arrival of this top-spec Sportage GT line trim. Now, this GT line has a retail price of 1,820,000 Philippine pesos, which may seem like a bit too much money for a compact crossover, but it still manages to undercut its rivals like the Honda CR-V diesel and the Mazda CX-5. Now, granted, both of those compact crossovers are all-wheel drive, with the CR-V having 7 seats, but still, this top-spec Kia Sportage GT line presents a great value when you compare it against those two. The styling of the Sportage is unique, to put it lightly. Now, according to Kia, this design was inspired by a modern fighter jet with its contrasting sharp edges and its smooth surfaces. Now, I don't know about you guys, but personally, I just find it looking a little bit too weird. Now, this Sportage GT line gets this X-style LED DRL assembly similar to the ones we found in the Kia Forte GT. Now, it also has LED headlights and a uniquely designed LED turn signals, plus the GT line is the only Sportage in the country that comes with LED fog lights. Now, the hood of the Sportage also has a couple of bulges here in the middle and a couple of bulges towards the top of the front fender, which gives it a more muscled and macho look. Now, the overall feel of this front fascia is pretty Euro, like it's the love child of a Porsche Cayenne and a Mini Countryman. Now, I have to say guys, this tiger nose front grille though, it's looking kinda old already. You see, I understand that this is part of Kia's design language currently, but on this front fascia, well, it looks a little bit out of place. Now, some of you might call me out on this, but with the current unveiling of the newer 5th generation Kia Sportage, it seems that Kia has agreed with me there because, well, that newer Sportage has a front grille that is more aggressive and angular looking. Still guys, this front fascia, this Kia Sportage now, well, it will still turn heads wherever you go, for better or for worse. The side profile of the Sportage hasn't really changed since the pre-facelift model, which means that we still get the same high belt line here that makes the Sportage look a bit more muscular. Now, the top-spec GT line gets these power folding and heated side mirrors with LED turn signals and a larger set of 19-inch wheels. Now, these wheels are wrapped in 245/45 R19s, and by golly, these wheels look damn good. Now, behind those wheels, we get 4-wheel disc brakes, and for your suspension, we have a MacPherson setup in the front and an independent multi-link rear suspension at the back. Now, the ground clearance is 172 millimeters, which is a little bit lower than the other diesel-fed compact crossovers in the local market. The rear end of the Sportage GT line looks sleek and better put together than the front fascia, at least in my opinion. Now we have here a clean set of LED taillights, and it's connected in the center by this reflectorized center strip. We also have a pair of functional exhaust pipes, and we have here a rear diffuser in the center for that added sporty character. Now when you pop open the manual liftgate, you get 491 liters of cargo capacity, which is decent enough for one medium-sized luggage. And it's twin beside it, so that's two medium-sized luggage plus a few other smaller items around the luggages. Now the good thing about this Sportage is you also get a donut spare tire for that added peace of mind. Now, if 491 liters is not enough for you, you could always fold down the seat backs of the second row seats and you get 1,480 liters of cargo capacity. The top-spec Sportage GT line gets the same diesel engine that's found in the lower LX variant. Now what we have here is a 2-liter 4-cylinder turbocharged diesel engine that puts out 182 horsepower and 400 Newton meters of torque. Now that is one strong contender, outmatching the Honda CR-V, but falls a bit short of the Mazda CX-5 diesel. Now the power is sent to the front wheels via a newer 8-speed automatic transmission. However guys, that lack of an all-wheel drive, especially in this top-spec GT line trim, is a bit of a sore spot for me because as the top-spec model, I would have expected this to have all-wheel drive and it would have gone toe-to-toe with its other direct competitors. However, being a front-wheel drive vehicle, the fuel economy received a boost because in city driving, I was able to get 10.8 kilometers per liter, and on the highway, I maxed out at 21 kilometers per liter. And mind you guys, both of those fuel economy runs were done in normal mode. The GT line gets some pretty significant interior upgrades when you compare it to the lower trim of the Sportage in the country. The GT line gets these power adjustable leather seats for both the driver and the passenger, and we also have a leather wrap steering wheel here that also comes with paddle shifters. Now there is also cruise control, and we also have a GT line badge right here at the bottom part of this flat bottomed leather wrap steering wheel. Now the wheel also adjusts for tilt and it also telescopes. So yeah, that is one bit of good news for taller drivers who wants to get that perfect driving position. Now the instrument gauge cluster is a typical Kia gauge cluster. We've got a mix of analog gauges here plus a black and white multi-information display in the middle that shows you your vital vehicle information. Now while this is functional, it does have that dated look already, especially in 2021. Now when you go over to the infotainment system, this has also received a significant update. We now have an 8-inch touchscreen infotainment system here that is equipped with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. The camera image of the reverse camera also comes out here, and the image quality is quite decent and quite usable. Now when you go down from your infotainment system, we have a fully automatic dual zone climate control system here, plus an array of buttons and knobs here to operate your infotainment system in case you don't want to use the touchscreen. Now we also don't have here an electronic parking brake. We still don't get that. Instead, the Sportage has to make do with a foot brake, which might seem like it's a bit backward guys, but for me I find that to be a bit more reliable than an electronic park brake. We also have a couple of cup holders here, which we will subject to our clean canteen test. Now the Sportage is sold globally, so I'm pretty sure this will pass. Yes, it fits quite well. Second cup holder, yes, both of these cup holders pass my clean canteen test. Now when you look at the entire cockpit layout of this Sportage, it's a bit driver oriented, and it's a little bit too business black for me. I mean, we've got a good amount of soft touch materials here. The top dashboard is wrapped in leather, and we also have leather on the door cards and some nice and soft padded inserts on your door cards, and of course this center armrest here. However, the whole color scheme is a little bit on the bland side. It looks too somber, too businessy, and even the top dashboard, despite being wrapped in leather, looks a little bit too much like plastic to me. However, despite this somber business look here, well, the fit and finish is still fantastic, and it's also quite expected from these global Kia vehicles. Wow! Now this is a large and wide door. And you could really see that, well, Kia designed the Sportage to be a crossover for people with starting families, because this back seat is quite spacious aside from having a really large door there and really wide opening door, so that should make getting in and out of the back seat quite easy. Now, as I mentioned, the space here is, well, spacious. It's really quite big for a compact crossover, because I'm 5'6", guys, and this is my driving position. As you can see, I've got 8 inches of knee room and around 6 inches of headroom. Wow! Now you could put 3 adults right here at the back seat, and all 3 people will be comfortable as heck. Now for the amenities, we also have a pair of rear AC vents here. We've got a 12-volt charging outlet down there at the bottom, and we also have a center armrest with 2 cup holders. Now that's all well and good, guys, but it's now time to hop back to the driver's seat and take the Sportage out for a quick drive. Alright guys, so we're now driving the Kia Sportage GT line, and first up, the visibility. Well, as I mentioned, the belt line of this thing is pretty high up, plus the fact that the dashboard is also mounted quite high. So couple that with a steeply raked back windshield, and you've got a visibility that is quite compromised, especially when you compare it to, let's say, the Honda CR-V or even the Mazda CX-5. Now the steering feel is also quite decent. Despite being an electric power assist assembly, well, Kia tuned this to make it feel like it has hydraulic power steering. Now it's pretty similar to the larger Kia Sorento, where it has a good amount of health built in, plus it has a pretty decent steering response, especially for a crossover. Now the cabin comfort is also quite good. Despite being motivated by a diesel motor, well, the NVH levels here inside is above average. At highway speeds like what we're going through now, well, the highway noise doesn't really permeate inside the cabin, and that diesel rattle can only come in only when you're sending it. But if you're just puttering around town, well, this Sportage has a pretty quiet cabin. Now when it comes to the suspension and handling, well, this thing is pretty crossover-y in the sense that it's tuned more towards comfort. I did try to take some curves and some corners a bit faster than normal, and the good thing there is it's pretty agile on its feet. Now that's probably due to the 19-inch wheels that this GT line has, but when you go into like bumpy roads, well, the ride could get a little bit jittery, also because of those 19-inch wheels that we have here. Because of those large wheels, well, the tires are pretty thin, and that would translate to a more jittery ride. Now when it comes to acceleration, well, in normal mode, this thing could get pretty anemic. I didn't even bother with eco mode anymore because the normal mode has that eco bias to it already. However, when you do switch to sport mode, well, this thing becomes more engaging. The acceleration is direct and linear. You don't really feel any turbo lag there, and that diesel engine just pulls and pulls hard. Now, since we have paddle shifters here, I did try the paddle shifters, and yes, it is quite engaging, but I like how Kia tuned the transmission of this thing, because even if you don't use the paddles in sport mode, well, this thing could really put the hammer down. Now, with that in mind, well, it seems that the paddles are really more for playtime rather than actual outright performance. Now, unfortunately, the safety bits of this Kia Sportage lags a little bit behind versus its direct competitors, especially when it comes to active safety. You see, we only have passive safety bits here. We've got 6 airbags, we've got ABS with EBD, stability control, hill start assist and hill descent control, plus front and rear parking sensors. So that pretty much sums up the safety features of the Kia Sportage, and that means that it is quite behind when you compare it to the Honda CR-V and the Mazda CX-5. Overall, guys, well, this Kia Sportage GT line is one complete package that is severely underrated. You see, it's a great daily driver, and well, if we only had all-wheel drive in this trim, well, this would have been a perfect diesel-fed compact crossover. The Kia Sportage GT line is a revelation. It's a capable and well-rounded performer that just needs more time under the spotlight. So if this front fascia floats your boat, well then indeed, the Kia Sportage GT line is worth your second look. Thanks for watching.